This is a Belkin Pure AV Power Console. It's an AP21100-12. This is made by the Belkin company. You know, the makers of filters and UPSs and things like that. This one came out of a dumpster. It's a little scratched up, but the case is pretty strong, pretty heavy gauge metal on the top here. Looks like it's well built on the outside. I don't know if it works or not. I noticed the line cord on it is very heavy, number 14 gauge wire here. On the front there's not much to look at here. Looks like there's a voltmeter on the left and an ammeter on the right, and then there's some indicators here that will tell you if your grounds are okay, your wiring, things like that. Switched on, timer, remote on. Here's the on-off button on the left here. There's an auxiliary outlet on the front, and then flipping the unit around, you can see on the back it's got 4 outlets that are always on. It says video filter. The lines are filtered for all of these outputs here, but anyway, this is always on. These are switched, and this one says high current and switched for devices that pull a lot of current, like a high power amplifier, things like that. I did find a manual on the internet for this. Not much information, and of course no schematic, unfortunately. But according to the manual, the high current switched outlets here, there's a delay that gives you 8-second delay when you turn on the device here to protect against you know, speakers thumping if an amplifier kicks on like that. And on the back here there's also some F connectors for antennas or satellites or cable. They're filtered. You've got a phone jack, you've got a phone jack in, phone jack out, you've got a network interface cable here, RG cable here for your internet in and out. Looks like a ground here. Here's a reset circuit breaker. So I don't know if it works. I don't know if it's going to blow up when I plug it in. I don't know why they threw it out, but I guess the only way to find out is to plug it in and see what happens. But first I'm going to open up the lid and take a look inside to see if there's any obvious damage there. So stand by for that. Here's a look inside the unit here. It's got a very big line cord on it, number 14 wire, and the cord is a little over 11 feet long, so it's kind of nice. The power comes in here, and there's 2 boards on here. There's a power supply here, some type of a controller here. The filtering is done on this board over here, it looks like. Anyway, the power comes in through a ferrite here, and it's fed through some filtering. You'll notice a bunch of orange thyristors here. These are just varistors. And then there's 15 amp fuses also in series here. And then it's fed over to the filter board. And on here you've got some relays that control the output, and those are connected back through to the controller section here. There's more filtering here. You've got some class 2 1 microfarad capacitors here, across the line caps here. You've got some heavy inductors here, and then they go through some more filtering here before it's fed to the outlets here. You got also, you can see here some air gaps here that'll flash over with a high voltage. So this thing looks like it's provides a lot of protection for your outlets here. Now on the input side here, you've got phone and Ethernet inputs, and then looking on a board here, and this isn't connected to any other circuitry. This is just isolated to the Ethernet and phone jacks on the back here. There's a fuse, and then there's a sedactor, which is just a thyristor for transients on here to protect your either your phone line and your computer lines here. Yeah, these are for the phone lines, and you got a similar board down here for your Ethernet connector on here. Now this also has inputs where you can connect external components to trigger this thing on, either with a DC voltage in here, and I think the manual said 3 to 30 volts DC in here will activate it, or 120 volts from a switch outlet on your component in here will activate it. And if you look on the board here, they've got some opto isolators here, and this whole section is isolated from the external components here. So that looks good here. On the front, you got a meter here. There's another some type of controller here, and that's picks up signals off of this main board here, and they feed the dual meters on the front here. So I think next what I'll do is I will plug the unit in, and we'll test it and see what we get. See if it's got any problems. I don't see any burnt components. This looks like it just came out of the factory. Very clean inside too. So I'm going to set up a load, and then we'll go from there. So stand by. I have the Belkin here set up. I've got a AC voltmeter connected, and as a load I got an incandescent bulb. I think it's 100 watt. So what I'm going to do is I'm connecting up to the always live outlets on the back. So when I plug this thing in, power should come on those right away. And they do. I get 120 volts and the light's on. So that's correct. And yeah, there's no effect with a switch here. So you'd connect your components that you want all the time on in one of these 4 outlets in the back. Now I'm going to switch over to, without electrocuting myself hopefully, okay, now I've connected my output devices to the switched outlets on the back, and there's 4 of those. So now when I hit the power switch here on the left, they should come on right away, which they do, and I should be able to switch them on and off. So that's working good. And there again, there's 4 switched, 4 live. Now I'm going to transfer over to the high current outlets. Now according to the manual, there should be an 8-second delay from the time I push the button until that outlet gets power. So I'll hit the power switch now. And timing down about 8 seconds should be right about now, and it does, and it switches on. So that gives you your delay. For example, if you've got an amplifier and it's switching on and you don't want to get the thump in your speakers as the power comes up. Anyway, I should be able to turn that off, and that works too. So it seems to be working all right here. Now some of these components that are across the line can fail open, so you really don't know if you're getting the filtering that you want, but I don't see any signs of any burnt components or anything like that. And there's quite a bit of filtering between the input and the output here, so I would suspect that this is working. And like I say, I don't know why it was thrown in a dumpster. I really can't find anything wrong with it. Just a few scratches on it because of going through the dumpster. Other than that, I don't see any problems. Looking at the 2 meters on the front here, very dim, so they may be some type of a fluorescent display, I believe. Well, yeah, it's hard to see. That's all contained behind the panel here. You can make it out. It's showing 120 volts on the left, and there's no current measuring here. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but wiring OK light's on, it's green, and the ground OK is green. Let's see, I'm going to hit the power switch here. And we're measuring here voltage. And I do see 1 bar on the current meter on the right here, so evidently that's working. Yeah, it's really hard to see. Maybe that's why they threw it away, because the display is not very bright, which I don't really care. I just care about the functionality of it. You know, if anything else, there's some really nice parts to harvest in here, but I think I'll keep it intact. This board here, the filtering alone on here is really nice. Even if you didn't want to use the remote, you could take this filtering board off, bypass these relays, and coming in through these 2 connectors here, your power, there's quite a bit of filtering that goes through, so that's another option, is just using that as a line filter. So anyway, that's the Belkin AP21100-12 Power Console that I guess was built to use with a multi-unit stereo system. So I don't know when this thing came out. Let's see if there's a date on it. Is that a 94? I'm not sure. Well, if it is, it's a few years old here. I didn't see much information about this on the internet, so I thought I'd open it up and take a look inside and see if someone's interested in it. So if you are and get something out of it, that would be good. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.